The Rugby Report is sponsored by Betfred. Quiet week in Japan? Only 5 games to talk about. Oh yeah, and a typhoon cancelling 2 games already. Fear not, Betfred aren't battening down the hatches because we're getting to the business end and the cream is really rising to the top. England have topped their group and New Zealand likewise. Wales are on their way too. Will it be one of those 3 that'll win it all? Betfred have a wide variety of markets on all the games this weekend, the ones that manage to be played anyway, and also on the very tight top try-scorer market as well. 18s and over, begambleaware.org. Maximum stakes apply. When the fun stops, stop. The Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred.
Earlier on today, apparently a woman rang the BBC and said she heard that there was a hurricane on the way. Well, if you're watching, don't worry, there isn't.
Hello and welcome to the Rugby Report, Japan 2019 with Betfred. My name's Nick Heath and, I finally found my way out of Namba Station in Osaka.
My name's Tom May and I finally found my way into an amazing coffee shop in Fukuoka.
Ah, how glorious. Great to be with you. It is episode 10 of the Rugby Report. Can you believe it? We've got here. It is, we've got to start, Tom, with the headline. Typhoon Hagibis. It has cancelled 2 games, unprecedented in the 32 years of history of Rugby World Cup. Fans upset. Sergio Parise and Leo Geraldini upset. Eddie Jones cracking jokes. Steve Hansen cracking jokes. What have you made of it all?
I mean, these things can't be predicted. I think that's the first thing to say. And it's not like anyone can stop it happening. So, people are saying, right, well, in which case there should be a plan B. And I'm sure there have been ideas that have been mooted. The problem, I think, is that the tournament has come out and given the guidelines that they're going to work to. Then actually came out and said we could try and move the grounds, the stadiums that are being used. And then said, oh no, we can't. Which I think has caused them problems because people have got the idea that actually that's logistically possible. Some of these stadiums would have been booked out for a certain period of time, and then after that there's baseball going on or they're being used for something else.
And all the Rugby World Cup branding would have been taken down. There's also the idea that
there's all the cameras as well.
Well, yeah, and certain numbers of people will have been expected to fit into one stadium, and if you're going to move it along, which of the 20,000 that can't be fitted into the relocated one are you going to tell to go and watch it in a pub? There's an awful lot of the logistics side of it that the fans just don't necessarily seem to be buying into.
No, and I think, that's one of the things that I've learned since sort of coming into commentary and doing some work there, is that actually the work that goes on behind the scenes to set a stadium up is enormous. You've got guys in there 2-3 days before the game goes on, putting wires in, putting cameras in, putting positioning in for commentary, cameramen, static cameramen. There's wires everywhere. I've never seen so many wires. But this thing's 1,400 kilometres wide.
It's extraordinary, isn't it?
There was I've been typhooning up. I've been having a look at my typhoons. So Typhoon Faxai, which was the 15th of the season, it caused $440 million worth of damage, killed 3 people tragically, and this thing's 3 times the size of it.
Yeah.
Which is, it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, if it's getting meteorologists excited from the other side of the world, then you kind of think that this is a major weather event, and as you say, it's capable of taking lives, and so...
Well, then safety becomes the most important thing, surely. Who cares about the rugby?
Yeah, quite. Talking of the rugby, obviously England-France both qualified. France would have been on a hiding from England probably in that game anyway, so I don't think anything changes in that pool. And England, as Eddie Jones has said, that the typhoon gods are smiling on them, but they've got a 2-week preparation now for a quarter-final, which we expect to be against Australia.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand Eddie's thinking completely because what wasn't that long ago that Billy Vunipola was walking around in a boot. The likes of Mako Vunipola and Jack Noel have come back in, and they probably were pretty sore after their hit out. I would have think that he would have liked them to have another game before the quarter-final. I think they're really important to the way that England play. I can see Eddie's argument, but I can also see the other side of the argument where you say, well, England therefore go in pretty undercooked into what is going to be a massive quarter-final.
Yeah.
Whoever they play.
Well, yeah, indeed. I mean, it's obviously Australia. They're going to come off their last game against Georgia. If you're listening to this pod coming out on Friday morning, well, Australia-Georgia is a 11:15 kick-off UK time. You may be listening to us after that, which we're not expecting any surprises. Australia to likely come out on top of that one in Shizuoka. But yeah, they will have had that game, and then they will have a bit of time to get themselves prepared, but they will at least have had a bit of a physical encounter before they then have to get ready for that quarter-final. But my outlook on it is these guys are professional. They're used to having prep time and then having to go in to a first autumn international game or a first World Cup game and be ready to go. I think the extra rest, given the few niggles that they're carrying in the England camp, will just be soothing Eddie Jones's mind.
Yeah, I think. I mean, there's now something you can point a finger at. I think that's the issue. I don't think anyone in the England squad would be, but should things not work out in the quarterfinals, well, we didn't get this game. There was too long a gap in between, so that there's now an excuse or something you can point issue at. You look at the likes of Wales. They got an absolute. Well, they might have won, but they got kicked about, didn't they, by Fiji?
Well, let's run through the games then. We're going to just review South Africa, Canada, Argentina, USA, Scotland, Russia, Wales, Fiji. We'll then look on to Ireland, Samoa, Namibia, Canada, USA, Tonga, Wales, Uruguay, Japan, Scotland. That last one probably the bigger talking point of the lot. I should also before we crash on, thank you very much for your meal recommendation last night down in Dotonbori in Osaka. Went to Chibo for their okonomiyaki, and it was delicious. One of them.
I'll have that one, please, mate.
Yeah, the one with the pork and
that
beef.
One.
Good though, eh?
Oh, mate, it's so good. I went with a guy from the TV production crew, and he had yakisoba noodles, and I had the pork and the beef. I think that's what you had in the end, wasn't it?
Yeah, so for anyone who doesn't quite know, you can get these. There are a few Japanese restaurants that do this. I've been to one in London. Yeah, it is basically kind of two sides. They get the sort of omelette-y mix, make two sides of it, and then fill it full of food and a bit more egg and everything else, and all the meat.
What about that weird stuff on top?
Serve it to you like a little cake, and it's just hot and delicious.
That weird stuff on top that they sprinkle on it, that all starts curling up like.
Yeah, it's like sort of pork shavings or something.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't know what it was, but I ate it. It didn't hurt me, so.
Utterly delicious, yes. Yeah. No, but thank you for that. That was great. Really interesting little area of Osaka there as well. All sparkly and as you like. I put a little video on at Nick Heath Sport for anybody that hasn't seen that.
That river was the one that the Argentinian fans were lobbing themselves into.
Oh, right.
It's not really one you want to get into, is it really? Unless you're absolutely steaming.
Yeah, that is messy. All right then, well, let's look back at South Africa, Canada. South Africa 66, Canada 7. Cobus Reinach's fastest hat-trick in World Cup history is what he scored, and the Springboks were having a lovely time, basically.
Yeah, it was pretty one-way traffic, I think. Actually, the Canadians played slightly better when they had their minds focused by the red card. There was no issues again with the red card. I think South Africa is just so strong. The pace and the physicality with which they played that game, and Reinach would, as soon as he was away, no one was going to touch him. It was ridiculous. It was almost like a game where you get your best player and you get a couple of levels up and you can add speed. It was ridiculous. Yeah, because he's tiny compared to everyone else.
Like Daley Thompson's decathlon, shuffling on those two buttons and away he goes.
Yeah, mate. It was. But one of the best things I saw that night was Tyler Ardron and Sia Khaleesi. They were both captains of the respective countries and walked around the stadium together, clapping everyone, taking selfies with fans. It was awesome to see that. Really good. I also did quite enjoy watching Stephen Kitsoff, who clearly lost his gum shield on the field. He looked like some sort of truffle pig searching for food. He was shuffling around trying to find his gum shield. Like you'd imagine it at old Watsonians. Or old whoeverians, on a Saturday afternoon, just having a dig around in the mud. Oh, lads have lost my gum shield. Kitsoff was doing it on a perfect brilliant field.
I also love Scott Brits. He was, bowing to the ball girls or ball boys as he was taking them off.
But that guy just does not stop smiling.
I know, incredible, isn't it? And then off he went. I did see one brilliant tweet though where they said Schalk Brits having to come off on the 62nd minute with arthritis.
Yeah, he milked that when he came off. My God, it took him about 4 minutes to walk off, and it was only halfway into the field.
Absolutely loved it. You bumped into a few. Well, I was going to say Boca fans. They're clearly just sports fans. I imagine these lads have got a few rand in their back pocket, given the trip that they're on. Let's just have a listen as you caught up with the boys who have got a bit of sport on the cards this weekend.
So I found the 3 best dressed South Africans I could find in Kobe Stadium. You've come up trumps, right? You're here for the rugby. What else are you here for?
We're here for the Formula 1 in Suzuka and the MotoGP in Motegi Twin Ring.
So you've got the best, week to 10 days of your lives? How long are you over here for?
We're here for 18 days.
And what did you think of the Springbok performance today?
Today was much better than the other 2 games, yeah. Tops.
Why was that?
Yeah, because they played excellent, eh?
And do you think the Springboks now are setting themselves up for a World Cup final spot?
Yes, I think so. Quarterfinals first. Hopefully play Japan in the quarterfinals.
Hopefully. What is that, to get revenge for 2015?
Yes, that's correct, yeah. We want to be there as well.
Is that they're one of the games you're going to?
We are on the 19th and 20th. We haven't got tickets as yet. But if they're in there, we want to be there.
And tell me about it. So what came first? Was it the F1, the MotoGP, or the rugby? What was the thing that brought it?
It was the F1 and MotoGP first. That was last year, before the rugby was here.
Brilliant.
And when the rugby was here, we pulled our dates forward so we can come and watch the last this is group match with South Africa and Canada, and hopefully quarterfinals.
Brilliant. You enjoy your trips, fellas. It's been great to see you.
Thank you.
So, have they looked at the weather forecast, Tom? Because half of the things that they're going to might not be happening.
Now, I would suggest all of the things that they're going to might not be happening. MotoGP, F1, and the rugby. So rugby was the third choice.
Yeah, it was.
It was unreal.
Outrageous.
So they go. Apparently, they come out all the time. But I would imagine there's going to be some pretty disappointed lads. They were pretty well oiled as well. Not that everyone's been drinking too much over here, but they were. I mean, they were walking around with a speaker, dancing with the Japanese ladies that were running this bar. It was hilarious.
Beautiful. So Argentina 47, USA 17 was the next one to have a look at. 7 tries for the Argentinians, 3 tries for the USA. They were pretty gutted. They were sort of saying after the game that they really thought that they could have turned Argentina over. I'm pretty close to their camp, following them over the course of this campaign. I'm not entirely sure I agree with them. I think the Argentinian backline was brilliant, and I think unfortunately the USA just haven't yet got quite enough experience not to bite in hard on certain plays and then have a decent outside line break that totally screws them over. I thought the Argentinian backline, Malia in particular, who was playing his first Rugby World Cup game, he got man of the match in the centre. He scored 1, was provider for a couple of scored 2, was provider for a couple of others. Tukulet got a couple as well. I thought the Argentinians looked good and sent Leguizamon off with a smile on his face.
Yeah, I think that was the biggest positive of their World Cup, wasn't it? Just to send that guy off with a big sort of pat on the back. He's done brilliantly for them, but Argentina, I mean, they're a shadow of their normal self. It's tough times at the moment, I think, for Argentinian rugby, and they need to try and address it quickly, because these things don't change overnight, and it's going to take some time.
I think they need some youth and some power in that scrum.
Also pick your best players. Don't leave Issa at too long.
Well, yeah, it's time to start moving on a few of the old guard, I think. USA would have been happy having got 3 tries on the board, but they haven't got automatic qualification that they were hoping for 2023. They go into their game against Tonga needing a first win since 2011. A little more on that shortly. Scotland 61, Russia 0. 9 tries, 3 for Pete Horne and 2 for Adam Hastings. He picked up 26 points and man of the match. It was the one-way traffic that Lynn Jones probably feared it could be.
Yeah, I think that was always going to be the case, given Scotland's predicament at the moment. Obviously another great interview from Vasily Artemiev, which was probably the highlight for Scotland, for Russia of that day. Well, and maybe and for Scotland actually. But it's been. I think probably the Russians now have run out of fumes a bit.
Yeah, I would agree with you. Then this one was pretty interesting. I managed to get myself into the Rooney Arms, the lovely Irish bar in Kumagaya, to watch Wales against Fiji. Wales 29, Fiji 17. Fiji were up 10-0 with a couple of tries, and even on 57 minutes Fiji were leading by 3 points before the Welsh did enough to get that one over the line. But it was quite entertaining for quite a large part of that one.
Classic Pacific Island team that got to an hour and then just blew up. So having said that, after that there were some massive hits going in, well, throughout the game, to be honest. Semi Radradra could walk into any World 15. I'm going to say that. He'll get into the All Blacks, he'll get into any other team in the world. That guy is awesome. He's unplayable, as is Tuisova when he drops his belly on you. He knocked people flying. Some of the most physical rugby I think we've probably seen in this World Cup, so that Wales will be feeling that, and they'll no doubt try and rest everyone ahead of their game this Sunday against Uruguay.
Yeah, and sort of worrying perhaps for the rest of the world, and good for Wales' prospects to see someone like Jonathan Davis suddenly having a game that sort of was bringing him back into everybody's consciousness.
Well, that finish from Adams was sensational anyway, but the fend from Jonathan Davis was straight out of the Jonathan Davis textbook, and then the offload was sublime as well.
It's almost like the more physical games get, the more players like Dan Biggar and Jonathan Davis just step up and go, "This is what we're all about, boys."
Yeah, I think there were some great performances by several players, but those guys were particularly good. I think Dan Biggar's collision with Liam Williams was horrific. Not only did Liam Williams nearly knock him out with his arse in the air, but then as he fell down, he sat on his head when he landed. Oh God, it was horrendous.
Yeah,
wasn't it?
Well, he hit him first with his shoulder, I think, and then knocked him to the ground. And then as Dan Biggar's head is bouncing off the turf, he then clatters him with his hip bone. It's just what you need.
Cheers.
So really enjoyed that Keystone Cops moment of farce. So we touched on Australia-Georgia, which, bearing in mind it's probably going on while or after you might be listening to this episode.
One-way traffic.
Move on to, well, it will be one-way traffic as well, you would expect, with the Aussie runners. So, looking ahead to the next few games then, Ireland against Samoa. You caught up with a couple of lads here. I really enjoyed this conversation you had down on the beach at Fukuoka. It's a nice little part of the world, these sort of little created beaches that they've got. But listen to these two lads and how they think Ireland are going and will go.
So I'm here on the beach in Fukuoka, which is no sign of the typhoon coming. And who am I here with?
Dan O'Brien, Sean O'Farrell.
And you're looking forward to this weekend's game against Samoa. What are you expecting?
Oh, I'm expecting Ireland to win in this one easy.
And have you been impressed with the way Ireland have played to date?
No, but I feel we're saving it for the end.
Very good. And what do you think have been the problems in the way that Ireland have performed specifically? I know there's a lot of question marks probably about Johnny Sexton's form.
Johnny Sexton, when he's on the pitch, it makes a complete difference. When he's not on the pitch, the team seems to be lost, and it's not good. I'm worried about the Samoa game. I don't know why. There's still something in my gut thinking either we're going to get some bad injuries or it'll be a tight game. We need a bonus point to make sure we get out of the group. Depending even if this game is going to be cancelled with Japan and Scotland. But we want to make sure we get our points. Our game is going ahead definitely, so we need 5 points no matter what.
And what are your thoughts on that Japan-Scotland game being cancelled? I mean, it's obviously very disappointing. The Scotland-Japan game, which is still going ahead, in the weekend. What are your thoughts on the games that have been cancelled? England, France, New Zealand, Italy. It's something that we surely can't get around.
Well, in the 35 years of history, it's never happened, and it's devastating for the teams because we don't get the true result of the World Cup. I feel it's a downer for everybody. It might work out good for Ireland. We might win the group instead of losing the group, and then we'd end up playing South Africa, which we would think it'd be easier, what we were hoping from the very beginning. So
it's what it's planned out.
Yeah, it's the way it's planned out, and it's probably what we don't deserve because we haven't played well enough to win the group. But you'll take it any way it comes, I guess.
And do you think Ireland can go all the way? They were billed as being one of the teams, weren't they?
Fingers crossed. It's. I think only how many teams have done it after losing a group game? I think there's only been 2 or 3 that have won it. England did it and France did it, didn't they? After losing in the groups. I am not out here for the whole lot, but if we make a final, I'm getting on a flight back.
Really?
100%. I'm getting another credit card and that's it. That's it. It's happening.
You've enjoyed your trip that much?
Oh, amazing. I've been here for a month now. Well, it will be a month by the time I go back after this Samoa game, and it's been an amazing trip. Just meeting people and just enjoying the crack.
And do you think Japan has done the tournament proud in the way it's been hosted?
Unbelievable. The way this country has managed this and the welcome from the people, it's just fantastic. And the way the team has played, it's just unbelievable. I was at the Ireland-Japan game, which we lost, of course, but it was the best loss you'll ever have. The atmosphere was just amazing, and they deserved it. They were just fantastic. So this country is I've said it a million times, we think we're living in the civilised world. We're completely wrong. These people got everything figured out. So that's the way I feel about it.
Tom, they are absolute characters. I've got to give you a gold medal for possibly the best Fox that we've had so far over the course of the Rugby Report. They were brilliant. They're a bit of worry about Samoa, but they've been loving Japan. I love what he says about, we thought we had a civilised society, but these guys have got it going on. It's just really lovely sentiments.
Yeah, I mean the whole place is mental, isn't it? I mean, I don't think there's any way before having come out here I would have put this on family holiday list. It's definitely gone on there now. Definitely.
Yeah. I thought I want to get back to Osaka as soon as I can because I think there's a lot of fun to be had here.
Yeah, no, it's there's a few less onsens though, mate. So you'll be slightly disappointed about that, probably. Having said that, you no doubt found them. I think he was right. This place has done the Rugby World Cup proud. Now, clearly, there's going to be a lot of people that remember this weekend and the weather. That'll be their takeaway from the World Cup, especially if you're Scottish and the game doesn't get played. But it's a big weekend for Ireland. They're on 11 points, I think, at the moment. So they need to get a win against Samoa. Need to win well. Henshaw's back for his first appearance in this Rugby World Cup. Murray and Sexton, their 55th pairing together at halfback, so they equal O'Gara and Stringer. 7 out of 8 of the forwards started against Scotland. O'Mahony's on the bench.
You're not on commentary on this one, Benny.
You've done my research. And Mulapola's back in. The Harebear's back in for Samoa, who I would imagine will give it a good crack for a bit, but I think with the focus that Ireland will be giving this game, given what's happening elsewhere, that's going to be an Irish win.
I mean, as much as you joke about Fiji doing the Islander thing and dropping off after the hour, I do think they've been hanging in a little bit more and they've been clearly worked a bit more on their fitness than perhaps Samoa, who I do think have just become a sort of 55-60 minute team. This is massive for Ireland. They are second behind Japan, 3 points behind them, and need all 5 to get up to 16 points. Of course, if Scotland is called off because of the weather in Fukuoka on Sunday, then Japan will get 2 points for the draw, Scotland will get 2 points, and Scotland will be on 12, Ireland will be on 16, Japan will be on 16, but due to winning that head-to-head, Japan would be on top of the group and Scotland would be going home.
Just on the weather, that on Sunday, given everyone's been looking at websites, I'm sure Rugby World Cup liaising directly with the people that know exactly what's going on. But I found a couple of places on the internet that said effectively this storm is going to be way north of Japan by about 3 p.m. Japanese time, which is 7 a.m. in the morning on Sunday morning in the UK. So you'd think there's probably a chance. I guess the issue is around how much damage has taken place, during the hours preceding that.
Yeah, well, it is an evening kickoff, isn't it? So, let's get to that. So Ireland Samoa there. That one's 11:45 Saturday morning, UK 7:45 in Fukuoka. Then Namibia, Canada. I don't imagine many people in the UK are getting up for that one at 4:15 in the morning. You might see it through for the night before.
Yeah.
It's a 12:15 game. Another one in the Kamaishi Recovery Stadium. That one taking place on Sunday. Then USA Tonga.
Well, surely that's got to be in doubt as
morning.
well, because that's North.
Well, potentially, but we haven't had any report on that. I know a lot of people are actually looking forward to that one because Namibia are lower in the ranks than Canada, but fancy their chances.
I think both teams will have targeted that one, given their group.
Yeah, certainly. Well, I think it would be good to see that one go ahead. Then, USA Tonga, quarter to 7 in the morning UK, quarter to 3 in the afternoon in Hanazono. I will be going to that one. USA desperately want to win. Not just a win for win's sake since 2011, as I mentioned, but they really want to show that there's been progress, that the USMLR is giving them a good reason to be fitter, to be more experienced at rugby, and to stop being seen as so much of a Tier 2 team. But
what about that as well by the MLR? Ma Nonu signing for San Diego.
Oh yeah, hello.
Oh. Well, so it'd be him knocking about, Bastro's knocking around now for New York.
Yeah.
There's some players going over there.
There are, that's going to be really interesting to see how that develops. Really, I'm hoping. I've been embedded with them for so long. I'm hoping that the USA can do that because it would really send them home with a smile on their faces. Then Wales, Uruguay, that one down in Kumamoto, 9:15 UK, 5:15 Sunday evening. You're doing that one. And I think you're going up to Mount Aso to do a bit of volcano checking out as well.
Yeah, so I finished my commentary role on Sunday, which has been great. You know, it's been amazing to sit with this team for God knows how long I've been out here now, since the 18th of September or whatever.
17 years.
But now I go into a slightly different role, but which allows me time at the start of the week to go and have a little look about. So I'm going to go into Mount Aso and then. I get back into the work before the quarterfinals and then head to Hiroshima the following week. So be good. I mean, you want to get out here and have a look about, don't you? I mean, when I was speaking to those Irish fellas who you'd expect to be around with the Irish playing at the weekend, surrounded by Welsh. I mean, those people get everywhere. You know, and actually it was hilarious.
Oh, they love a tour, the Welsh.
Yeah, but they also the pair of them love tearing into English as well. So before I went and said hello, they were tearing the English a new one. It was brilliant. So when I walked over, it was like, oh God, he's English.
How predictable. So we mentioned it a few times. I mean, what more is there to say? Japan against Scotland then. That one in Yokohama. It is an evening kickoff, 7:45. So there's got to be a fair bit of optimism, depending on what damage is done, and we hope there isn't much, but it's pointing to the fact that there could be a fair bit of damage from Typhoon Hagibis, and we hope there's no loss of life, all of those sorts of things. But, you know, the Scots have had a chat with World Rugby. They've said, you know, surely we could move it back a day to ensure that this game gets played. But World Rugby are in a bit of a bind because they set their stall out at the start of the competition. They made it very clear. Everybody signed up to what the contingency plans would be during the pool stages. And having cancelled England, France and Italy, New Zealand, now although New Zealand would have spanked Italy, Italy could technically still have qualified, I think. They can't be seen to be doing one thing for some games and another thing for others. So if there's a chance that the weather's going to impact Japan, Scotland, then they are just going to cancel it. And I mean, if you're Scottish, you'd be hopping mad.
You would be hopping mad, but you know, as you say, everyone's signed up to these. They know exactly what the scenario is, and just because it's you know, it's now come down to the fact that you haven't performed as well as you could have in the previous games. Well, you know, I think Eddie Jones has mentioned it. They tried to accumulate as many points as they could in those early games.
But this all comes down to who did you have up front, doesn't it? I mean, that's partly down.
Well, yeah, but then that's luck of the draw anyway, isn't it?
I'm in the camp that says you're allowed to be pissed off, but this is also just the way it is.
Well, yeah, like what are you going to do when you get put against Man City in the FA Cup? Oh, I can't play against them. That's not fair.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Tough titty. Crack on with it. You know, Gregor Townsend's banging on about the fact that it gets windy in Scotland, which I think are crass comments to make. Clearly he's joking, but it's a bit daft. And the fact that they need this game to go ahead, it's sort of like, well, yeah, okay, we get your point. I know exactly why you want it to go ahead. The Japanese are doing the right thing, I think. Just get going on about their business and getting on with it. And I don't think we heard a peep from anyone, have we?
No, absolutely. I think they've just said, they're keen to get the game played. They would love to do everything they can to make sure that the game is actually played. They've just been typically humble, really, and just said they just want to do the right thing, and they don't want to avoid playing the game because they think the right thing to do would be to play it, but they'll go along with what has to be decided. It would be a massive game, and if it can go ahead, I think at the end of what could be a brutal few hours for a lot of people up in the north, we've started to see record numbers of people tuning in on TV, and that is a Rugby World Cup qualification shootouts for the quarterfinals. And I think the whole country would be stopping and tuning in on Sunday night if that game goes ahead. So let's really hope that it does. I think that is just about it from us. Any other business, Tom? I was going to mention that a few times in Japan, if you've not been over here, everyone who's listening, you can come in on a train line into one station and it'll say that you're interchanging to another station. And if you've been to London and been to Bank Station, that can be slightly confusing. It is not a patch on trying to change in some of these places, because they're in shopping malls as well that are on about 7 floors, and the metro isn't necessarily in the basement. One station could be on the 2nd floor down, the other one could be on 2 floors up, and all the signs are in Japanese. Walking around, I spent 20 minutes in Namba Station. I must have gone up about 15 escalators. I couldn't find out where I was going. I had a 23-kilogram bag I was carrying around. Eventually, I saw a McDonald's and just went to have a little sit and some calm and some nuggets and a Coke and get my sugar levels back up, just so that I didn't burst into tears. It was hideous. Eventually found my way, and that was that.
Find the nearest exit, get out. Once you're outside, at least you can then work it out. It is impossible inside those things. It's a nightmare. I got really annoyed yesterday there's a bit like that you're queuing thing, but they all queued to cross the road. So if it's a red man, you can't cross. Now that's great, but if you follow me on Twitter or Instagram, you'll know I try to bore everyone to death with how far I've been running. That's really fucking annoying when you're trying to cross the road. So you're in the middle of, I feel pretty good here. Oh no, it's a red man, and everyone's looking at you like, oh god, he's going to cross. I've had my wrist slapped twice by policemen since I've been over here, just wagging fingers at me and shouting at me.
So have you. And one other little detail, it is the International Sumo Championships in Sakai, just south of Osaka where I'm staying. There are some seriously chunky monkeys in my hotel. I was surprised there was any food left at breakfast this morning.
So there's sumo wrestlers from elsewhere in the world?
Yeah, there's a German team and an Australian team. When I turned up, the woman at reception yesterday pulled out this long sort of spreadsheet printout and just said, which country are you from? I was like, what?
Mate.
By just telling someone what nationality I am. But I've clearly been
I'm
on the
sumo for the under 8s.
If she thinks thinks that I'm part of the UK sumo team, it's time for me.
Which age grade are you in, bud?
Yeah. There's a women's one as well. Maybe she thinks I'm in that by the size of my moobs. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. So that's great. There's no room in the onsen here. Let me tell you that much. I think that is about us. There are going to be so many interesting little details to come out of this weekend, whether that's Ireland, Samoa, and any potential banana skin there. Don't think there will be much of one. USA, can they win that game? And then, of course, Japan, Scotland. Lots to look forward to. Any other business from you, Mr. May?
No, I'm off.
All right, thank you so much for listening. We will be back to break down and look ahead to the quarterfinals, whoever may be in them. It is going to be a brilliant last weekend of rugby matches. Do enjoy them and keep up with all of the latest markets on betfred.com. From me, Nick Heath, it's goodbye.
And sayonara from me. God knows where I'll be next.
Cheerio.
The Rugby Report Japan 2019 is sponsored by Betfred.
There's a plethora of offers on all the action in Japan from Betfred. Boosted odds on players to score any time, top tournament try-scorers, handicap bets, pick your punt specials, and boosts around the biggest games. There's plenty of twists and turns left before this tournament's over, and you can experience it all with Betfred. 18s and over, begambleaware.org. Full T's and C's apply. See betfred.com for more information. When the fun stops, stop. This has been a Rugby Media production.